Jalen Brunson didn't just win awards, he shocked the entire NBA world. One analyst made the wildest claim yet. Brunson saved the NBA. A 6'1" guard exposed every excuse superstars had, but now the pressure is on.
Everyone looks at it as leaving money on the table, and so while it is to a certain degree, like the most I could sign for at the time was like the 156. If I waited a year, and it would have been like about 100, obviously 100 more.
Yeah.
But like kind of knowing about what she said, like there's a certain being in the league for so many times, so many years. Like that's like the average year is about four years in the NBA.
Yeah.
Average career length, and so having that uncertainty of like betting on yourself, you're like like you don't know. So like just kind of having that in my back pocket, knowing that I'm good, my family's good, I can just play free, I don't have to worry about anything.
You can't call him the greatest when two people that are still playing got 4 rings, and LeBron and Steph Curry. They both got 4 rings. So we can't do that right now. I would tell you this year, he's standing there like that. Very proud of Jalen Brunson. The brother put on a show. And I think that he's the greatest overachiever we've seen in the modern era. Nobody expected him to be this great, this productive, this kind of a finisher. It's absolutely phenomenal. And I'll say it again. I think Jalen Brunson saved the NBA. I really, really do. Because when you talked about the NBA, everybody was caught up in Wembanyama. It's this 7'5" freak of nature, and everybody was preparing for how are we going to deal with this? How you going to guard this man? How you going to deal with the defensive prowess he brings to the table? How you going to do all of these things? And Jalen Brunson, the 6'1" Jalen Brunson, showed up on the court and was the biggest dude on the court. It wasn't Wemby. It was him when it really, really counted. And because of that, what happens is, and that's why he's deserving best male athlete, all of the accolades that he got at the ESPYs, he deserved every one of those awards. And here's the reason why. Because when you look at him, now you get to look at Ant-Man. Now you get to look at him, and it could be Donovan Mitchell, it could be anybody else, and you're like, what's your excuse? How come you can't get it done? Jalen Brunson stepped out on the court and got it done. Before, we were looking forward to 7'5", how you gonna answer that? Chet Holmgren looked like a petrified puppy in the conference finals against Wemby in San Antonio, with Wemby coming from him. And I was sitting there talking about, you got to go and get Giannis if you Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City's got 13 first-round picks and about 16 second-round picks over the next 6 years. What the hell you going to do if you see him Presti? Take him to the grave with you? You got to trade and get Giannis because Chet Holmgren's scared. But then they drafted Maya out of Michigan, so we'll see what happens. In the end, what it comes down to is that we were preparing as a basketball universe to figure out, oh, my God, what are you going to do about Victor Wembanyama? Jalen Brunson showed you what you can do against Victor Wembanyama. And because he's shown you what you can do, now you're looking at all of these 6'4", 6'5", 6'6" guys, and you have no excuse. Because if Jalen Brunson did it, you're supposed to be able to do it. And if you don't do it, that's on you. Because he did it, you better figure it out.
I was right, and 98% of the time, I'm always right, Shady. Don't ever forget that. Here's the thing. Did you see that resume from just this year? Longer than the CVS receipt. Now look, I grew up in the household with my grandparents. God rest their soul, and they used to always make me sit at the table and say, you better not get up until you finish your food. That's exactly what Jalen Brunson did. He finished his food. And look, with all those accomplishments, last night cemented him as a first ballot Hall of Famer, as a future first ballot Hall of Famer. You can't tell me with all of those accomplishments that happened just this year that when Jalen Brunson retires, that he's not going to be walking right into the Hall of Fame. I hope I'm there. Hope I get the invite.
Wait. The ESPYs you think is what
that ESPYs honor is what cemented it, Perk?
First ballot Hall of Famer.
No, every single thing, best athlete, all that stuff. I mean, he's joining elite company. He's joining LeBron. He's joining Jordan. Like, You don't just get best athlete, you know what I'm saying? On top of every single thing, like he swept everything. You talk about the NBA Cup champ, NBA Cup MVP, conference MVP, finals MVP. I mean, damn, what else? Did he leave room on the table for anybody else? No. And I have seen people, hold on real quick, Shay, let me have my moment. I've seen people get into the Hall of Fame with less.
Okay, he had his moment. Go ahead,
Shay, in European soccer, the teams go for what's known as the treble. They want to win their League Cup, they want to win their national championship, their club championship, and they want to win the Continental Championship, which most times is the Champions League. Jalen Brunson has won the basketball version of the treble this year.
The NBA thought it had already found the future. A 7'5" alien named Victor Wembanyama was supposed to become the face of basketball. The questions were everywhere. How do you stop him? How do you defend someone that tall, that skilled, and that unique? The entire league was preparing for a new era. But then, a 6'1" guard walked into the spotlight and changed everything. Jalen Brunson didn't just win awards. He destroyed the excuses. One analyst made a statement that sounded impossible. Jalen Brunson saved the NBA. A small guard saving a league built around giants? It sounds crazy. But look at what happened. When the biggest moments arrived, Brunson became the biggest player on the floor. Not because of his height, because of his impact. He proved that basketball is not only about size, athleticism, or physical advantages. It is about skill, mental toughness, leadership, and the ability to deliver when everyone is watching. But Brunson's journey became even more impressive because he didn't just sacrifice comfort, he sacrificed millions. Many people looked at Jalen Brunson's contract decision and said one thing. He left money on the table. And technically, they were right. At the time, Brunson could have waited and potentially signed a much bigger deal. The maximum contract available was around $156 million. Waiting another year could have increased that number by nearly $100 million. In today's NBA, where players chase every possible dollar, that decision surprised many people. But Brunson understood something most fans forget. NBA careers are not guaranteed. The average NBA career lasts only around 4 years. 4 years. That means every season matters. Every game carries risk. One injury can change everything. Brunson chose security. He chose knowing his family would be protected. And most importantly, he chose freedom. Freedom to play basketball without worrying about what happens tomorrow. That mindset became the foundation of his rise. Because Brunson wasn't playing for approval anymore. He was playing with nothing to lose. And that mentality created one of the greatest overachieving stories in modern NBA history. Before Brunson's breakout, the NBA was obsessed with physical dominance. Everyone was waiting for Wembanyama. Teams were preparing for the future. Some even questioned whether young stars like Chet Holmgren could survive against a player like Wembanyama. The conversation was simple. How do you beat someone with impossible physical tools? Then Jalen Brunson answered. Not with height. Not with athletic advantages. With basketball. When the pressure was highest, Brunson delivered. And suddenly, the question changed. The NBA stopped asking, how unstoppable will Wembanyama become? Instead, people started asking, if Jalen Brunson can do this at 6'1", what is stopping everyone else? Now, players like Anthony Edwards, Donovan Mitchell, and other talented stars face a different standard. Because Brunson removed the biggest excuse in basketball: size. He proved that the gap between good and great is not always physical. Sometimes it is mental. Sometimes it is toughness. Sometimes it is simply refusing to fail. Jalen Brunson's argument for greatness is not based on one award. It is everything he accomplished together. This season became a historic collection of achievements. Best male athlete, NBA Cup champion, NBA Cup MVP, Conference Finals MVP, NBA champion, NBA Finals MVP. He collected almost every major prize available. It was the basketball version of completing a perfect mission. Nothing was left unfinished. That is why some believe Brunson has already built a first-ballot Hall of Fame resume. Not because of one trophy, because of the entire story. A player who was underestimated. A player who was doubted. A player who became the leader of a franchise. Of course, nobody can put him above legends like LeBron James and Stephen Curry right now. Both have 4 championships. Their legacies are still being written. But Brunson has earned something rare. Respect from everyone. Because greatness is not only measured by expectations, it is measured by how far you exceed them. Maybe saying Jalen Brunson saved the NBA sounds dramatic, but his impact is undeniable. The league needed this story. A reminder that basketball is still about more than measurements, more than height, more than athletic ability. Brunson gave every overlooked player hope. He gave every undersized guard a blueprint. And he gave every superstar a challenge. Because now the question is no longer, are you physically gifted enough? The question is, are you mentally strong enough? Jalen Brunson didn't just win awards. He changed expectations. He didn't just become a star. He became proof that the impossible can happen. And after what Brunson accomplished, the entire NBA has a new standard to chase. Because if a 6'1" guard can reach the top, nobody has an excuse anymore.
Yo, mic check 1 to 2, -1, -2. Game over for this video, folks. Smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to stay in the huddle for more. This is NFL Madness, bringing the heat and signing out.